Up in Pittsburgh, Paul H. Connolly sat behind his desk at Construction Tool Service, staring at the wall. He had an idea. It was a big idea. And he knew who he needed to help him pull it off. Independent distribution was under pressure. To thrive in the future meant working together. It meant finding ways to be more important to manufacturers. Buying groups were a new phenomenon in the industrial products industry, but Connolly had a different idea. His idea was to build a marketing group, a group that would partner with manufacturers to do things that other distributors couldn't or wouldn't do alone. I still remember Paul and me out fishing on Lake Hartwell when he told me his wild idea, recalled Chuck Tackett of Dixie Construction. Paul first laid out his plan on the back of a paper napkin. It was a great idea, and it filled a need in the industry. But what to call this new venture? Sweptco? Buy right? Evergreen, a never-ending contract, a name that implied money, growth, something that was ever-changing. Evergreen Marketing Group, not a buying group, a marketing group of distributors and manufacturers working together to make the industry stronger. Over the next several months, the initial team came together. Those early discussions revolved around the limitations STAFTA had in policing distributor and manufacturer activities in the marketplace. They recognized that trade associations were not equipped to do this. What the STAFTA industry needed was a group like Affiliated Distributors, or IMARC, in the electrical wholesale channel. As the small early group of founders worked through their thoughts on how to form such a group, it became clear that they needed some legal advice and counsel. Enter Mary Jo Dively, whose influence and guidance on the architecture and development of Evergreen cannot be overstated. Those early meetings became multiple-day affairs. The days were long work sessions followed by nights filled with good food, great jokes, fine wine, and fellowship. Seldom did the conversations vary from Evergreen's structure, purpose, and the need to have meaningful manufacturer engagement. At the very beginning, the founders decided to have one distributor in each major economic trading area. The distributor needed to be the dominant player in his or her market. More than once, Connolly said he wanted no bottom feeders in the group. The early founders also realized that they needed to expand geographically. Bob Brady from Acme Tools in Portland, Oregon, was asked to join the group as the sixth founding member. The stage was set, and other industry leaders were recruited to the group. Soon, each part of the country was well represented by recognized industry leaders in distribution. In short, the fledgling group had its first 25 members. The group also began recruiting manufacturers to become preferred suppliers. Diamond Products stepped up first, followed by M.K. Morse. Power Fasteners, Werner Ladder, Triumph Twist Drill, Rayovac, Vulcan Steel Products, and Gardner Bender. Next, professional management was needed. Enter Jim Gardner, a classic Madison Avenue New Yorker who happened to live in Cincinnati. Gardner was responsible for putting much of the early structure together. He kept the founders on track and focused on the tasks at hand: distributor qualifications, profiles, and market responsibilities. Criteria for manufacturers to become preferred suppliers were developed and honed. The group also discussed at length what the Evergreen Partnership meant and how the relationships between distributor members and preferred suppliers would be different. It was decided that training and education would make our members stronger and better than non-members. Preferred suppliers could justify marketing allowances if they had greater access to members' sales associates. Enter George Sheets. George was an industry veteran who had recently sold his distribution company based in Los Angeles. George pulled together the group's first training program, the entry-level School of Product Knowledge, based on a model developed by Gene Morris of Morris Marketing Group. From that humble beginning came an industry-leading training and education program that still thrives to the present day. Soon after the first school was held, Chuck Tackett said, "If we do it right, I can envision Evergreen with its own training facility someday." Gardner and the founders also developed the format for the annual partnership conferences. These two-day affairs included presentations by the board and executive director on the state of Evergreen, and scheduled face-to-face meetings between distributors and manufacturers. A certain number of these meetings were to be conducted between members and preferred suppliers who did not do business with one another. The Evergreen format was designed to be more business-driven than other industry conventions, which helped attract real decision-makers to attend. After a time, Jim Gardner left the group, and the second executive director, Joe Drochak, was hired. From the trade publication industry, Drochak was well recognized by manufacturers and helped the group fill out a number of preferred supplier slots, attracting some prized industry leaders like Black & Decker, Milwaukee Electric Tool, and Greenlee. Next came Kevin Higginbotham in mid-1995. Higginbotham was a seasoned manager with an extensive marketing and communications background, having worked for the likes of General Electric and Calgon Corporation. He was hired to replace Drochak, who left to start his own business. Recognizing that the key to long-term success for the group was its people, Higginbotham worked with George Sheets to accelerate the group's training and education program. Enter Jim White, an Oklahoma cowboy by way of Michigan. Jim and George became a key part of the Evergreen training team. Eventually, the two would share their decades of industry knowledge with literally thousands of distributor salespeople. Step 1 was centralizing schools into Chicago. Step 2 was finding a permanent home in the Dallas area, which helped to realize Chuck Tackett's vision of the group having its own training center.
Evergreen training has made me far more confident dealing with customers as well as dealing with coworkers as well as my upper management and operations team. In April, I'll be a certified tool specialist through the Evergreen marketing group. And it just means a lot to me because it's one of those things that I put a lot of my time and my efforts into. It's going to improve my career and improve my interactions with my customers and my coworkers.
So I've taken leadership courses here at Evergreen. A lot of the colleagues of mine, I've taught them what I've learned, and I try to take it back to the workplace.
The group also institutionalized a formal process to help distributors and manufacturers work together. Called Planning for Profit, the process was based on a method developed by Rick Thomas of Safeway Supply. More than 2 decades later, Planning for Profit remains a signature program in the group.
Planning for Profit is really a core pedestal of which we built this organization on. If you think about Evergreen, you think about training and education, you think about partnering with suppliers and distributors and manufacturers working together. And that's really what we've tried to focus on over the course of the years, is really those 3 areas that create the opportunity for distributors and manufacturers to work together.
Through the years, Evergreen has achieved many milestones. For the past 30 years, countless individuals have contributed to the growth and development of the Evergreen Marketing Group. The Evergreen Board of Directors has included many of the top leaders in our industry. The Evergreen Supplier Advisory Council has included leaders from many of the top manufacturers and independent rep companies. 17 out of 43 staff to presidents have roots in the Evergreen Marketing Group. What started as a wild idea scrawled on the back of a cocktail napkin has grown into the most respected marketing group in the industry. Often imitated, but rarely matched, Evergreen is a force for good in our industry, looking every day for ways to bring manufacturers and distributors together to drive growth and partnership.
Construction moves as fast as the data world and the tech world now, so to come here and see new evolutions of tools and new ideas that change basically quarter by quarter, and to be able to go into the field and teach those to people it's a huge asset.
It really took the fortitude of these 6 founders to come together, pioneer an idea that really engendered a lot of resistance within the industry. But they stayed the course, they stayed positive, and they created an organization that's really unmatched in this industry.
Evergreen thrives today because it remains true to its founding principles and core values. Core values like rigorous membership standards that only allow the best to join, a focus on partnership to provide real value for our manufacturer partners, and a commitment to professional development programs designed to help people improve their skills and excel in their work. Today, we celebrate 30 years with a brief look to the past. Tomorrow, we focus on the future, a future of great opportunity and continued partnership.